Being a music producer, every single day is different. You sit down in front of the computer and you're just like, what am I going to do today? What is it going to be like today? Hello and welcome back to the Chanel. My name is Rafi and today I'm here to talk to you about the two ways that I approach making music, particularly if I'm feeling uninspired. And as a music producer, you have these waves of inspiration and sometimes you have these waves of lack of inspiration where you're just not sure what to do next. I like to think of it like a flower. A flower can't blossom 365 days a year. It's just not realistic to expect that of yourself. So you should be aware that there are going to be ups and there are going to be downs along the way, and that's okay. The first way that I approach making music is to throw everything I know out the window. And I'm going to explain to you what I mean by this. As a music producer, you have all these ideas in your head about what you should do, what you shouldn't do, how to get sounds you want, and you never really take the time to experiment and just land upon something that's really cool. When I'm feeling uninspired, I open up Logic without any expectations. If you're opening up your DAW expecting to make the next biggest hit, it's probably not going to work out that way. So I like to open up Logic and simply start adding on the randomest of random plugins. I have a bad habit of going onto the internet and downloading every single plugin that my eyes land upon. I barely ever even open half of these. So sometimes I just take the time to go through my plugins and just take a random audio track and I'll sing literally anything, possibly gibberish. Once I have some random audio, I'm just going to start applying all kinds of wacky plugins to it, of any sort. Sound design, reverbs, I'll reverse the file. What typically happens is I land upon a sound that I've never heard before that sounds really, really interesting, and that inspires me to move forward with the rest of the track. I do this constantly, and by doing this, I'm able to get a really personal sort of sound that no one's ever heard before. Also, instead of using samples and stuff that you have saved on your computer or your Splice account, instead, why don't you try making the drums with your mouth, or just banging things, or clapping and then pitching it down. These are all things that I do to get inspired, because these are sounds that you haven't really heard before. Something that I struggled with for a very long time was capturing the vibe in my music. Recently, this has changed completely because I'm opening up my DAW with zero expectations. I'm simply fooling around, seeing what comes my way, and then getting inspired by what I create.
Child of this land. Sunshine, my bright. We just want the sky to fall and break it, fall down, cave and waste it. We just want the sky.
So that's it for number one. Just open your DAW, put on some random plugins, and do virtually anything. Just play around, and you're bound to get inspired by landing upon something that you would have never came upon if you were just trying to make something the way you usually would. Number two, and I find myself doing this a little bit less often, but it is a really helpful tool, and that is to literally clone. Take a song that you really, really love, drag it into your DAW, and try to clone it as close as possible. Doing this typically opens up my eyes to the way the original producers produced the track. It brings me into their brain for a little bit, and that typically inspires me a lot. With this exercise, I started to implement a lot of new things into my workflow. Unironically, by cloning other people's music, my own music got a lot more unique because I figured out certain mindsets that other producers that I respected were having, and I learned to apply it through my own vision and through my own lens. I know that this one was a shorty, but these two things really, really helped me through the times where I felt really uninspired, like I just wanted to bang my head against a wall. I really hope that they can help you too, if you're not really sure what you want to do next. Whenever I'm having one of those days, I always do one of these two things, and sometimes both, and I always end up with a really, really good result. If you guys enjoyed this video, or if it helped you, feel free to leave a comment down below. I will be reading through them. Subscribe, like, share, do all the YouTube things. It's not your first day on YouTube. I know it's not your first day on YouTube. You know exactly what to do. Thank you so much for being here. You are amazing. Hello, 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 beautiful and wonderful people. Is that a good intro? It's not a good intro, right?